Hey, everybody. Welcome to Making Awesome. This is Chapter 12, Product Development Round 2, Momentum.
Fight!
Uh,
No.
I'm Tad. Somewhere is Grant and
I
also
am to your
Thomas
right, and Thomas is below me.
that way. Um,
So now you got to go diagonal down to your right to poke Thomas.
I,
To your right. To your right.
I don't know
Everything you own
directions
is in
now.
a box to the right.
The left.
That's
So
the
for
joke.
for those who
JPG.
may not remember from last time, uh, we went over sort of the beginnings of inventing and
Yep.
what you need to do. Getting ideas written down, having a notebook, coming up with a game plan. Sort of the basics of your product, and then protecting the sort of nascent dream that you've created with a provisional patent.
Well, and
Um,
that's all pretty important, but you know what's really important? Getting paid. Let's talk about today's supporter. That's 3D Musketeers, because it always is until Joseph Prusa decides to give us some damn money. Joseph, yo, hit me up, homie. We got to,
Free, yeah. We will advertise for you,
the amount of
sir.
printers we have
I
likely
was about to say
sold for
we already
you.
do, so
Yeah,
he
kind
doesn't
of.
even.
We literally just did the auto fellatio Prusa episode. But no, seriously, this episode is supported by 3D Musketeers. It's what's paying to have everybody here talking to you, and you get to have it for free. Think about it. There's no such thing as a free lunch.
Hmm.
But 3D Musketeers is here to take your ideas and make them real. If you are an inventor, you don't know what to do, reach out to us at 3D Musketeers, and you can reach us at info@3dmusketeers.com. It'll all be in the description down below. I apologize, Tad, for interrupting you so much, but I didn't want us to get too
No.
far before we reminded everyone in a Linus Tech Tips style of who we are really caring about, other than our loved ones and not spreading COVID. Am I right, gentlemen?
You are
Oh yeah.
indeed.
All
Don't
right.
you don't you go anywhere, guys. Not until we got those vaccines out. Mm-mm.
Yeah,
Even
maybe
when
not
you
a good
do, stay the
idea.
hell inside till it's proven.
Yep.
Don't
Yeah.
listen to Moderna.
There's like two of them right now, but yeah, you know.
I
Yeah.
actually had common stock in that company and I forgot about it.
Oxford AstraZeneca, I think, is the
No,
other one.
Moderna.
Pfizer.
mRNA, I think, is there. Anyways, irrelevant. We're
Yeah.
not talking
Yeah.
about COVID vaccines today. We are talking about product development. Round 2, fight! Momentum.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
like the
So
fight?
fight. Yeah, no, it's good. Which fighting game was that does that?
Street Fighter.
That's
Street
Street
Fighter.
Fighter. Yeah.
So today we're going to talk about a couple things, but a good place to start is CAD drawings, right? Um, so at this point in your product development, you've sort of gotten the bare basics figured out, the skeleton, and now you want to start getting a little more formal with this, right? So first of all, we should probably discuss what is CAD. Well, we did
With
an episode
Tad.
on that. Yes, CAD
With
with Tad.
Tad.
I can't do it, Grant. It feels weird.
Cad
Okay, purred
with
happily.
Tad.
Oh, we, we
Um,
we did at least 2 or 3 purred happily jokes in that episode. I know, Thomas, you were not with us at that time, but that was actually a really good episode. That was before we had Thomas on the podcast, and well, it shows. It wasn't a bad podcast, but it wasn't as sexy.
yeah.
Not to say that Thomas is bringing sexy back, but it looks a lot better because of all the new branding stuff we have. Maybe he's bringing a little sexy back. I wish I could rock hair like you do. Anyways, carry on.
Yeah. So
Into
we're
the
getting more
weeds.
formal with conceptualizing this,
Yep.
whatever you're designing, right? So, I would recommend, yeah, take a look at the What is CAD episode so you can kind of get the ins and outs of that. But just quickly, CAD is computer aided design, right? So depending on what you're baking, that could take a lot of forms. Uh, for most things, it's some sort of a part or device. So it's going to be 3D models, which is what I do. I make 3D models of things. Um, so that's where you want to find somebody who will do that. Well, we just so happen to do that, which is convenient. But whoever you go with, you want somebody who can do that competently, preferably someone who's either a technical draftsman by trade or an engineer like me to get it right. Um, because you'll start with your 3D model of whatever your thing is, and then to get it made, they're going to make it into 2D drawings, the engineering drawings, and that's what some factory that you want your product made at will need to see to be able to give you a quote. So, but if other things, there are definitely like CAD programs for textiles and such, because uh, maybe you're not making some kind of a widget. You have clothing that you're trying to market. So there's a whole range of stuff, or say even it's like architecture. Then you get into Revit and all kinds of things. It's a whole wide world of CAD.
Yeah, I was going to say, just from my experience, the important part about this is it's taking what your ideas may be and giving them really refined measurement
Yep.
and a very specific blueprint so that anyone could pick it up and,
Yeah,
be able to effectively make it. Because if you
yeah,
don't have, you want someone experienced, because if some of those things are even just a little bit off, you're going to have huge issues, because depending on the complexity of your product, it might just not work because of
yeah.
certain measurement problems.
I don't think the
So
dog could drink any louder. Um,
I don't hear her, but
you don't hear her at all.
only
Anyway,
a little bit.
uh, so yeah, it's basically like you're going from your napkin sketch that you had before to, like Thomas was saying, blueprints, and it's very important to get that right. So
Yeah, like in my experience, as far as my design goes, I'm never making anything that's the most that I make that sits in real world is something that's like large scale print is
mhm.
super important for us to be able to create something to scale, because if it's not, then it'll look
Yeah,
completely wrong when it's actually blown up, because stuff always looks different on a computer screen than in the real
mhm.
world. And that's where it comes into, like, we're going to talk about prototyping today, right? Probably.
Mhm.
Okay, yeah, so
Yeah,
same thing, we do test proofs and prints over and over again to make sure that everything is right, because it's an iterative process,
yep.
so
exactly.
And
And nothing is ever right the first time.
that's exactly what I was going to go with. It was, if you
yeah.
think you're going to get it right the first time,
Think again.
you got another thing coming. I don't know who did that song.
Yeah,
You got
just don't even get those hopes up, because the point is to kind of get things wrong, because you're
Because you'll
working
learn
out
from it.
this thing. Yeah, if
Yeah,
it was right the first try,
you'd already be rich.
yeah,
We
and
literally had
also
a customer today that I've been talking to for 2 weeks now, back and forth. He said, "All right, I need some time to think about it." A week went by. He says, "Hey, I need these parts by Tuesday." It's $700 of resin printing. I said, there's no physical way we can have that for you. We have one machine in the color that you want. It's not going to happen. 2 hours later, he emails me saying, "Hey, we just found an issue in our design. We're going to put a hold on this for now."
See,
There
look
you
how
go.
ready he was to jump
He
on
just
that.
saved himself $740 is what it was going to be.
Yeah.
$740. Yeah.
well,
People
that's
you need to double check things.
from what I've learned about 3D printing, that's so interesting to me coming from a design standpoint, is when we screw up a print, typically we're printing downscaled and on cheaper material a lot of the
Hmm.
time, and that's just what we do.
Yep.
And very rarely do we get to a final print that we're printing the actual thing full scale, full quality. And so it's
Hmm.
interesting to me to see that they're overlapping a lot to have
Right.
prototyping 3D printing, because that's the cheaper, quicker proofing point if your part is going to
For
be
like
cast in
real
something,
things that are
or
going to be made.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that's awesome, because that opens up the capability for people that do want to make cool stuff to
Yeah.
be able to prototype it
Yep.
before getting it way more expensive
Putting
prototypes in the actual
20,000 into a
material.
mold.
Yeah.
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 So I think that's super cool from learning about this and how 3D printing is used in that way in the first place. Because, yeah, cool stuff.
Exactly. So you wanna not go to Fiverr or some other kind of slave labor site. You want to research some professionals, make sure that they have um, well, I don't want to say accreditation, but uh,
You
that their
don't want fly
background,
by night people. If you're paying $5
yeah,
an hour for your CAD work,
that's not
either
enough.
you found a unicorn or you're dealing with someone who is not going to give you good results. And look,
That they're making it in SketchUp or something,
we have
which
actually found a couple of pretty competent designers on Upwork.
yeah,
We hired them.
Upwork is a pretty decent site,
yeah,
depending, because it's a sliding scale, right? Like
And it's
better
true,
than
right?
some other places. Yeah.
If you're paying less than $50 an hour for CAD, you are likely getting screwed somehow. Whether they're not going to give you all the documents that you need, you're not going to get a known transfer of ownership. There's a lot of BS that can go on, and you know, if you're trying to save money, that's fine. Learn to do the CAD yourself. If you are ultimately trying to save money, learn to do it yourself. And if you are interested in learning to do it yourself, you can join the Making Awesome Academy or the Making Awesome Institute. We haven't decided on a name yet. We own all the domains. Don't even bother. um, yeah, even bought the TLDs, the ones saying, "Oh, I wonder." Nah, got him. Got him. Anyways, I'm sure someone's gonna go there and be like, "Oh, they didn't get this one," and get it, and now we're gonna have problems. But either way, that's okay. I don't care. We are gonna be building our own academy to help you understand this, and part of it will be, well, hey, I don't want to pay you. I want to do it myself. So
yeah.
okay.
Well, and be our guest. You're more than welcome to, but you run the risk of not having the expertise to do it yourself, and then you come back to us anyway. But if you really want to put the time into it, there will be that resource for you to learn these things.
And remember, if at some point you decide that it doesn't work, we said you can do it on your own. You decide you don't like it, then you can put our services to the test. Okay?
Yeah.
I Googled the lyrics for Be Our Guest, and that's the third lyric in it.
That's what you're doing? That's your bit?
I couldn't keep a straight face, so I don't.
Oh my
care.
God.
But then it's like tie a napkin around your neck. I can't work that in here. It doesn't work for me. Anyways, that's a bad Disney joke. But yes, we wholeheartedly recommend that if you are trying to do this on a budget, do it yourself or try. The worst that can happen is you spend a couple of weeks learning CAD, you try to do it, and you fail. And maybe you bring us something that you're missing some little stuff on, maybe some stuff that you're not.
Yeah.
It will get us further in the process than having nothing. And Tad,
Exactly.
when we are looking at building something in CAD for someone, we want lots of data. Now there is
Exactly.
such
The
thing
more,
as
the
too
better.
much. Well, there is such thing as too much.
Oftentimes someone will come to us with like something that was drawn on, like I said, a napkin, a sticky note.
I mean, if you bring us 1,000 sketches of the same product, that's too much. But if you bring us 10 of different angles, maybe one of how it works,
different variations, perhaps, something like that.
Remember, all this, it's billed by the hour, right? CAD time, design time is billed by the hour with any place.
The more of an idea you come to us with, the less we have to figure out.
Some places will charge you flat rates. We are looking at moving into a more of a flat rate style where it starts at X amount and goes up from there depending on what packages that you want, or that it includes a certain amount of time. But, right now we do it purely by the hour. We give you an upfront quote, so there is no, BS in the end. We're not begging for more money at the end, although every now and then we do go over and we do ask. It happens.
It does. There are uncertainties and things.
Yeah. And we will start offering payment plans. So if you can't pay for it all up front, we're going to have the option you can utilize PayPal credit, and that gives you 6 months interest free. and we get the money all up front, and then you deal with PayPal, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And so there are many ways for you to help finance this idea, because truth be told, until you get into the hardcore like production, most of your money is spent on design. Straight up. We have a customer that their 3D print was $300, and now they did not do the design with us, but their design cost them $7,000.
Yeah.
We told them under no circumstances did they get a good deal. I mean, I blatantly told them, you guys got screwed. You need a lawyer. They did not get anything nearly what they paid for. And that's kind of the deal, right? On the surface, the company that they worked with looked amazing, right? They looked like a hardcore competitor of 3D Musketeers. But when we looked at the work that they were given, that was a pile of dog shit. It was terrible. And I felt bad because...
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah, we're telling an inventor, hey, you spent a lot of money, and we get that.
Don't have much to show for it, yeah.
But what you have here is not $7,000, maybe 700, and even that was pushing it because they had an exploded diagram, and they were told that they had a bill of materials. They did not have a bill of materials. The CAD design did not include a circuit board, and the product needed a circuit board. It didn't include any room for wires or terminals or anything. And yes, while the board was very simple to do, the 5mm LEDs that it used, you can download them on GrabCAD for free and build a cheap board in CAD, and then I wouldn't have 3D printed things that didn't matter to them. And it just...
Exactly.
That whole project has been a bit of a cluster. We're actually going to hopefully have them on as podcast guests. Which would be pretty cool for them to talk about.
It's going to be a good review experience.
Yeah. I think I want to have them on after we do it here at 3DM, and then have them talk about the differences between the two companies.
Yeah.
But anyways, carry on, Tad. Sorry.
Yeah. So if you find your professionals to do this well, and, I would definitely look at reviews if they have it available, if it's like a business with a Google page, Google reviews are your friend.
Yep.
Do your due diligence, and shop around for quotes. Certainly, don't just go with the first person who answers.
Yep.
Because you want to get a variety of quotes, so you know that you're getting a decent deal. I mean, because how likely is it that all of them are going to be overblown? Don't go with the lowest, don't go with the highest, go somewhere in the middle. Probably it's like when you're looking at something on Amazon, look at the 3-star reviews.
Find people that you like to work with, right? At the end of the day, you'd rather pay more to work with people that you prefer, that are going to take the time of day to say, you know what, we're having an issue getting some communication here. Let's do a live design. Let's jump on. Let's hang out. Let's get to know each other a little bit more.
Yeah.
But let's also do your design, right? And
Fit is very important.
Oh, man.
And we've had clients where we end up spending, 80% of the meeting just chit-chatting because we enjoy talking to each other.
Yep. And by the way, you don't pay for chit-chatting. If you're wondering, people that are listening, we absorb that as just part of the cost of doing business, because relationships matter to us. And that's what a lot of firms don't understand. Relationships are such a big deal here because it's all about trust. And if we were fly-by-night shystas, which, I mean,
there are those.
At one point we all start there, right? And we have to cut our teeth the hard way.
Yeah.
We got better, right? I got better. Turned me into a newt. I got better. We're pulling out movie references here. Monty Python and the Holy Grail, great movie.
So good.
Old school.
Not enough money for real horses.
No, coconuts.
So where the heck were we?
Grip it by the husk.
The husk. For no European.
Anyways, just on making sure that you find the right company, right? And look, you may find someone that you like more than 3D Musketeers. No hard feelings.
Yeah,
but we would like to know why. Right?
Yeah.
If we're gonna give you all this help right now, can we at least get a why? If you think I talk way too damn much and I'm a little harsh, you're probably right. But I'm not here to blow smoke up your ass. If you want smoke blown
No.
up your ass, go to
Transparency is important to us.
go to like the invention help companies that are going to charge you 25 grand and give you nothing. They'll blow smoke
Yeah.
up your ass. We're not going to.
Well, and here's another thing. Not all engineers are created equal. I say this as a mechanical engineer.
Right.
Some of us can talk to people, like actual people, and others, they may be the smartest people in their field, but they have no communication skills. It's sort of a trade-off. I don't know why. It comes with the territory. So be wary of that situation. You may get very good quality work, but if it's like pulling teeth trying to get conversations completed, you're going to have a hard time, whether the end product is good or not. So keep that in mind.
Yep.
You know. So I would say at this point, you know, you've figured out who you want to work with. You get into that process, and they should be able to guide you to the end of that process, hopefully. Though, I mean, you're not going to be completely handheld. You need to keep being engaged with it and giving your input to get to the end of that process of getting your CAD done. And then before you get into your prototype stage, it would probably be a good idea to address branding. And I will toss that to Thomas, our branding maestro.
That's what I
Maestro,
do.
I like that.
Oh,
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, we've talked about the importance of just branding in general.
But Thomas, I don't even have a product yet. Why do we care about branding now?
Because if you want to be able to sell your product, people have to know about it. Blanket statement. And
But
that's,
I don't have any sales. People don't need to know who I am. I don't give a damn about I don't care about me. I care about the product.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but if no one knows about the product, then we still have a problem.
But
so
branding's expensive. I don't need it.
That's what you think.
that
These are literally the things that we hear
Yeah.
from our customers, okay?
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
not
it-
I am literally quoting customers will not put their names attached to it because they'd be mad, but look, it's expensive for a freaking reason. It's worth
Yeah.
it. Look,
if you want to compete, then you want some sort, even at a very low level.
Yeah.
We're talking about like a very basic brand identity is making sure that you have a nice name for your product that's not
And
just
it's
something
identifiable.
weird, that it's identifiable, that you have some kind of like search engine optimization, and like even at the very most basic level, like a logo and maybe a color that you can
Yeah.
give to people to put on.
Because
your-
you could have
I
the
think-
greatest product in the world, but if no one can understand,
Well, yeah,
yeah.
depending on the scope of what the product is. I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of the time, if it's a business to business product, depending on what
Mhm.
it is, sometimes you don't need really good branding.
Yeah.
But if it's consumer at any level, you're gonna need like a website to sell the product. Again, depending on unless it's crazy niche and you're
Mhm.
just gonna be basically marketing it yourself by word of mouth, which is
not
super
impossible.
advisable.
Yeah.
You're gonna want like a website that has a good landing page that says what the product is and tells your story. And a great way to do that is just have very low level identifiable branding that says, hey, I am this name and we are these colors and we use this logo, so that if someone sees it, they can start building a relationship with
And they
the
can be
product.
like, I know that. That's
And-
that thing.
But
Your
Thomas-
investment turns into like a long-term thing.
Mhm.
I have no desire to sell my product. I want a company to offer me enough money that I can buy a private island for myself and one for each of my kids. I don't need branding.
Have you ever watched Shark Tank?
Yes, I've watched Shark Tank. I want the Mr. Wonderful deal, damn it. I want $250,000 up front and 7% of gross sales in perpetuity.
Great. So but this is the thing, how many people have gone on Shark Tank that you've seen that don't have branding? Because they all do.
Mhm.
Everybody that goes on Shark Tank at even at a lower level has something that looks appealing, because you're not going to get investors and you're not going to get someone who's even going to purchase your product off of you unless it looks good to them.
The only
It's very
example
psychological, right?
There's one
Yeah.
example that I can think of on Shark Tank where someone had no branding and they got a great deal. It was the tree teepee guy. The tree teepee guy
Yeah.
had no branding, but he had no. He was it's for farmers. It goes around the trunk of a tree to
Oh.
help contain the water.
Oh, I think
Well,
I've seen that thing.
He everything that he did was word of mouth, because when you're a farmer, you know other farmers, and you don't have
Yeah.
one tree.
You're
you
not
have,
going to market that to the general public anyway.
Right, so he had crap
Yeah.
branding, but what he had a story, and his story is
Yeah.
what his brand was. And
That is the brand.
did he think about it? No, he didn't. His story was exactly, he had this problem, he went through it, and I believe he got a crazy good deal, and now you can buy them at Home Depot.
And again, that
and now they're branded.
happens.
Yeah.
But if you invest early, even if someone, here's the thing, it's a win-win investment for you, because
Right.
if it does look good and a business says, heck yeah, we're buying that, here's $1 million, product's ours, and they take it from you, you don't got to deal with all the other stuff, and you just got $1 million. Cool, you did it, you paid the branding for the branding, and that's good. It's out of your hands now. In the case that that doesn't come along and you are now running this business, you have branding and you can start building an identity, because without identity, people will not know about your product, and you are going to have a much harder time down the line, and you might get out compete. People will outdo you if they are better known. It's happened before. There's a crazy story about how Oreo was branded better than Hydrox, and it sounds better, but it's effectively
the same thing.
the same cookie.
They were.
And Hydrox was around longer than Oreo.
Yeah, Oreo was the knockoff.
And Oreo's the knockoff of Hydrox. However, Oreo propelled itself to the front of the market and sold way more cookies than Hydrox ever did, because the branding of Oreo was just better. And it's just a cookie, right? As simple as a product you can get, but the packaging was better. They marketed to their market better. They just did everything better. So
it sounds like a medicine is what it sounds like.
Yeah,
it's awful.
So
like hydroxychloroquine.
Yeah. Oh, let's not get into that. That's awful.
So 100% it matters. And I mean, depending on the scope of your product, again, there's things to talk about, whether it might not be worth it for certain people. But a lot of the time, again, if you are marketing to consumers at almost any level, you are going to want some kind of brand identity, because we also live in a mediascape where everything's on Instagram, everything's on Twitter. And if you're not, you're being outdone by other people with similar products, and you won't be able to cut through the noise.
Now, Thomas, say you get to this stage, where do you find branding? Oh, I'll tell you, we do it. Thomas does it.
I do
specifically.
Thomas does it through 3D Musketeers.
Yes.
Okay. So we're going to offer packages for inventors where branding is included. Yeah, branding is not cheap. We've talked about this before. And if you don't understand branding, we did 3 freaking episodes on it. What the hell are you doing not watching them?
Exactly.
Where we look at how bad the branding is for making awesome, and then we redo it. And then we look at, we touch on the branding for 3D Musketeers, and then we redo it. And we actually went to vote for the 3D Musketeers logo. And we'll probably be announcing that first week of December, but pretty soon.
We don't have results?
We do. There is so the result is number 1. I mean, that it's been overwhelmingly for the top line. But we had a couple people say that the top of the hat kind of looks like Mickey Mouse ears, so I would like to adjust that a little bit. So we'll likely kind of merge the two, keep the brim of the top one, and keep the styling of the bottom one for the main hat itself. So it's pretty cool. I mean, it was a pretty good idea, because I would have gone with the bottom one. As the owner, I would say I like the bottom one better, but oddly enough, that wasn't the right choice. The right choice, according to the consumers, the people that would likely be buying our stuff. Now, mind you, those consumers happen to be my friends and family. And yes, that's actually the wrong way to do it. We don't have a lot of followers. So if you are listening and you are not following 3D Musketeers on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and all the other places that you absorb content via reverse osmosis, do that. You can find us at 3dmusketeers.com, of course. But anyways, Thomas, branding it's a big freaking deal. And I can't stress it enough. As someone who really thought, honestly, they don't need it. They really don't need it until they have a product. That's wrong, right? And look, I just admitted I was wrong. How many business owners do that? Zero. The answer is zero.
I was gonna say, if you've ever seen an episode of Kitchen Nightmare, not many.
Amy's Baking Company. Oh.
Even think about the idea that people are more and more now in our, in how the internet has evolved and how, large media platforms have evolved. People are kickstarting products that are not finished because they need the money to even create a product.
Yep.
All of these things, it's coming to people's attention that now more than ever, branding and some kind of marketing is incredibly important, because you have to cut through the, hundreds of million other people that are using any platform at a given time.
Yep.
It's funny you mentioned Kickstarter, because I have seen Kickstarters in the past that they, the pictures that they start with of what their product is change drastically from the beginning to the time of fulfillment. But what their branding,
if
they have the branding. Yeah, if they even fulfill, don't fold.
Yeah, in that space, the branding stays consistent. It has a name. It has
that's what
face,
gets you through it. Yeah.
Yeah. So like if you're going to be selling like some sort of food product, just as an example, it would be like, well, yeah, the food itself could change so many ways, but if the package looks the same and the logo looks the same, people can still have a loyalty to that product.
Indeed.
I ordered chocolate from a place on Kickstarter. It was like coconut chocolate or something. It was pretty good. Their warehouse burned down midway through the cycle, and so it took like 8 months longer.
Oh my! That's such
ridiculous.
Talk about a problem.
I was about to say,
so terrifying.
It's about as bad as it could possibly go.
And the worst part is, the melting point of chocolate is so low, they didn't need a big fire to lose all their inventory.
Yeah. So, but they still delivered. So it must have been insured or something.
Was it good chocolate?
It was pretty good. Some of it was weird though. It
Why
was
didn't I get any?
I wouldn't recommend it. It was a thing I was trying on a whim. That one of the varieties they had was turmeric chocolate.
Oh, why?
It's an acquired taste.
Why would I want? Because look, everyone knows.
It's good for you.
I say turmeric. Is that wrong?
Turmeric. Is it spelled turmeric? I don't know.
It's Tumeric. I believe.
It is turmeric. You're right. I don't know.
I people call
it's Tur.
Tur.
It's turmeric.
Turmeric. Yeah.
I've always called it turmeric.
Okay, that's like sherbet.
Yes, it's very much like
everyone calls it sherbet. No, it's sherbet. Sherbet. Look it up. Sherbet.
Oh God, this is a tangent to go on, but I can't resist. Sherbet. You're right. God damn it! How?
I grew up calling it sherbet too, but there's no second R in it.
Sorbet.
I'm not stopping.
Sorbet is probably less controversial because it's French.
You mean sorbet?
I will take.
God.
I'm taking.
It's the Colbert report.
I'm gonna take that knowledge of the whole sherbet thing and know I'm doing it wrong and just do it more.
Are you unhappy with me? Are you unhappy, baby?
Poor little doggo.
Give me toy. Give me toy.
She's a good girl.
It's okay. Give me the chicken.
Oh, the chicken.
Give me the chicken. She's got a chicken leg, like a drumstick thing.
Uh-huh.
And it is a little worse for wear, but it is probably the most durable toy she has.
Well, we need to find her a new one and get her a new chicken leg. Yes. She deserves it.
Yes.
Her and her wheezy self.
I know.
Poor dog is always wheezy.
Sounds like a bagpipe being squeezed when she growls at me.
You're not wrong. Anyways, branding, and branding's
Branding,
important,
sorry.
guys. Don't
Yeah.
take it seriously. You don't have to spend 20 grand on branding, and certainly we're not going to make you do that. But
But
you
find
know,
a qualified graphic designer.
right. And again, stay away from Fiverr. Stay away.
Yeah.
Look, if you're trying to ball on a budget, I get it. But at a certain point, you're trying to fund your future here. You gotta put gas into the car to make the car go. And if your car requires premium, don't put regular in it, okay?
Mhm.
That's an octane thing, and it causes premature detonation and knocking. Yeah.
Yes.
And no, there is no pill to fix it. You can't put Viagra in your gas tank. Oh,
I'm sure it's been tried.
I think the Mythbusters had to have done that at some point.
I would be
What
shocked
a great
if they had.
show that was. R.I.P. Grant Imahara, but what a great
Oh,
show
I was going to
that
say
was.
that what a loss.
Adam Savage still does Tested and is everything that I loved about Mythbusters without Jamie Heineman, which sucks. I did like Jamie Heineman.
I know.
But I honestly, Grant was always my favorite. I mean, the namesake is there, of course, but
Yeah.
that was always like a dream thing for me. But once you have your CAD, once you have your branding, what's next? It's prototyping. You gotta get it made. And here's the deal: if you are doing an app, this is where things change.
Yeah. It's not the same as physical stuff.
Right? An app we probably can't help you with. We can help you with the branding on it. CAD is completely useless. It won't do you any good. We can definitely help you with branding on, your apps and your digital ideas, but prototyping a digital idea is kind of tough.
I mean, if it's like an app connected physical product, we can do the physical side.
Well,
That's
yeah,
we are doing that.
If you want to do an app, then you should go and find some qualified UI UX designers, and they can take care of all of those things for you.
We don't do that yet. I actually have met a really awesome UI UX designer. She has absolutely zero time. She owns, her and her husband own Your Turn Board Game Cafe or it's Your Turn, a board game cafe in Zephyr Hills, Florida. They have over 1,300 board games. Check them out. I'm going to give them a free shout out because they are awesome people. We are going to do some really cool things with them coming up here in the future. And they have both Dan and Sarah, the owners of the company, have agreed to come on the podcast. So that will be a really cool group because Dan is all about, the people, and Sarah's about people too, but her background is branding, marketing, UX, and UI. And she takes no crap from anyone. She's awesome. I love working with her. But their shop's pretty cool. That would be an episode where I would likely take a laptop to them because you have to do it in their shop. Their shop is so cool. The ambiance is gorgeous. Anyways, prototypes freaking matter. And the cost, right? Everyone wants to know, how much is it going to cost? Well, we have a whole episode about what is the cost of 3D printing. You can go check that out.
Yeah.
But it's going to vary. And I know nobody wants to hear that it's going to vary. Statistically, poor Bailey. Statistically speaking, the cost of your prototype will be somewhere in the range of $200. The most expensive one we've done recently was right at about $2,500.
Yeah.
And that's just for 3D printing and any extra accoutrement. So if it has any, electronic components or needs assembly for some reason, all of that costs extra. We have an individual that is trying to get me to do 2 weeks of work in 4 days. I believe we talked about him on the bonus episode. Didn't mention his name, and he may not ever listen to this. If he does,
I know who this is. Yeah.
Yeah, trying to get us to do a ton of work in a couple of days, and then he also wants me to discount it $120. No.
It's going to be the opposite.
Yes,
Thank you very much.
Actually, it's going to be. He said, well, how soon could we get it? I said, for the price you're getting, 3 weeks. And especially because next week is Thanksgiving, in 4 weeks is Christmas. Most businesses shut down 2 days before Christmas and stay closed through the new year because we got to get all of our crap together and keep our accountants from killing us.
Yeah.
But, prototyping is, I don't want to say it's tricky, but it kind of is, because you know, it all depends on your product. If you're in apparel, there's a whole different world that you need to go into. I have gotten someone for apparel. We're going to bring him in. His name is Jack Miller. He owns a company called POC IT. I believe we talked about him before. If not, we're going to bring him on. He's a really cool guy. But, you know, he came with this issue of getting prototypes for apparel, and there are not many companies that do it for a good price here in the United States. And I believe he went to Pakistan to get his initial prototypes. That's one of the common places to get prototypes from that are fabric-based. But if you're looking for a physical part, something that is made of plastic or other thermoplastic materials, 3D printing is a great option that is low cost and low volume. 3D printing, yes, you can do hundreds of thousands of parts via 3D printing. It is not economical, and you should not do it. And that's coming from someone that owns a 3D printing company. You should not do it, because you're going to waste money.
Oh, give me toy.
Poor girl.
Give toy.
It's tough being her, man.
It really is. She has the work. Oh my God. Get out, Bailey.
Sorry.
It's okay.
She's okay. She's our favorite guest speaker.
He needs to go out. Oh, go out. Go. 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 You can't complain and then not let.
I have a cat that does the same damn thing, okay? You can't complain and then not do anything. Yes, they can, and yes, they do.
She just complains for the hell of it.
Yeah, that's okay. But
yeah, as you were saying,
is awesome for this. You know, think of a custom part, right? To get it injection molded, you're going to spend, let's call it an even 20 grand on the mold. That's not unheard of.
And that's not even counting the cost of your, you know, how many minimum order quantity.
Oh, we're getting to that.
Yeah.
20 grand for the mold. Okay. You have your MOQ, your minimum order quantity, which is normally 10 to 15,000, if not more, at maybe $1 a piece. So you're now at, let's call it $30,000 for good math. And you may not do it in the United States. So then you got to pay for either the slow boat to get it cheap, or the air cargo and pay a ton of money. All of that will add up to $35,000 to $40,000 minimum for production. A 3D print might run you $150.
Yeah.
You can get the thing is, 10 of those made for $1,000. If you're nice, maybe we'll hook you up and give it to you for $1,000.
Well, and see, that's the good thing, because you, at that stage, you should be prepared for things to change. Just because you're making the prototype doesn't mean everything's finalized.
Yep. And the 3D printing is not 100% accurate. If you have a smaller part, resin printing is awesome for it and can get you stupid accurate parts for pennies on the dollar comparatively. But when you look at your break-even point, right, you're at 300 3D printed parts on something that's $100 each before you start to even touch what it could cost to get technically one piece, because you have to buy the 10,000 to get the first one. Made via injection molding. So if you do, let's say you do 10 and you do like a focus group or something like that to see, all right, do people like this? Is this going to work? Does it do what it says it's going to do? When you have all of that and it works together, 3D printing serves and solves a really, really tough thing here. It's a gap that was previously unbridgeable, or you'd have to spend a lot of money to get something like 5-axis CNC milled, right, to get the quality that you were looking for. And yeah, you're not going to easily do that. 3D printing fits awesome here, and we highly recommend it. Of course, making awesome is always supported by 3D Musketeers. Eventually, we might have some other sponsors and supporters, but right now it is supported by 3D Musketeers. And you know, 3D Musketeers, that's one of our core competencies, is 3D printing. You can see behind me, if you are watching on YouTube, there's a wall of 3D printers, and there will be until we decide on a new location coming soon, which is going to be pretty awesome whenever we decide to pull that trigger. I might have a different option here, so it's been pretty cool. I've been learning a lot these past couple of days, but you know, it's it's important. Prototyping is important. And you might say, well, if I don't get it right the first time, I'm throwing money out. No, you're not. You're actually not. Because if you spent the $30,000 and got it made in China, shipped over to the United States, and you get it and nothing fits, well, that sucks to be you, homie. You now have 10,000 of something that
It's
you paid
useless.
$30,000 for that is now legitimately useless. We always help people out by figuring out their break-even points. So, let's say your break-even point is 1,000 units. When you get close to the 200 mark for 3D printing, we're going to say, hey, look, now is the time to start thinking about an injection mold. If you are selling these routinely, you're selling them all the time, now is the time to think about an injection mold because you have a consistent business. You're going to be able to launch what you can call the V2. That's more professional grade. 3D printing is professional grade to some extent. But yes, the plastic can look and feel a little bit chintzy sometimes. It depends on the part. It also depends heavily on the color. Some colors look like garbage. Some colors look great. It all truly does depend. And, obviously we believe 3D printing is one of the good options, but there is also like resin casting. There is like wood carving. There's lathe work. So it will depend on your physical product. Resin casting is a great way if you have a smaller product or you have the ability to resin cast large stuff. To do short run manufacturing very quickly without the cost of 3D printing up front. So you can get one or two 3D prints, use those for your masters, make your silicone molds, and then pour into part epoxy resin. Great resources there. We should do an episode on that and why
I think a lot of props are made that way for movies.
They are. I personally hate it. I am bad at it. And I just had some bad experiences. We don't have a good space to do it here at 3DM
Well, it's
HQ.
messy.
I did it outside, and in Florida, ambient humidity is always over 70% because we hate ourselves. So instead, it took longer to kick. It was thicker than I expected. We had a lot of problems with it, so wasn't my cup of tea, unfortunately. And instead, we made a great relationship with somebody local who does it, and we just send business right to them. And we were only going to hit 3 topics, but we've got a little bit of time. I want to touch briefly on market validation. We're going to talk more about it next episode, but market validation is really important here because if you make a product and you don't test it, and you try to, let's say you try to get investors or you try to sell it, you might find very quickly that your product has no market. And just because you're solving a pain point, just because you're solving something that bothers you, does not mean it's something that somebody else is going to buy. And we've had to explain this to more than one of our customers and say, look, we think you have a really cool idea, but we're not certain it's something people will pay for. Because the problem is not problem enough.
It's too niche.
It is too niche, or they don't understand it, right? One of the biggest problems we have here with 3D printing, it's why we get so much pushback. People don't understand it. That's why we're doing this podcast, to help people understand what 3D printing is, what we do here at 3D Musketeers, get them knowing of our team, right? So that everybody kind of knows us before we go places.
Yeah.
And we hope it works.
The education aspect of it is very important.
Indeed it is. Indeed it is. And we want to be straight with people. And it's tough, right? Part of the Making Awesome Academy or the Making Awesome Institute, whichever name we use, is going to be a full class on doing a SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. That comes straight out of my Business 101 playbook that I have since I was in college. But it's very important, something that a lot of people miss, and we will, once you have that done, review it live with you so that we can talk about some places that we see issues, some places that we think you really hit the nail on the head, and potentially say, a threat, I don't really know if that's a threat. I actually think it's more of a strength. So really, really cool opportunity there. But market validation is important. If you think you have a product that's going to sell 10 million units, and it does, maybe you got lucky. but maybe you did your research, you had good branding, you had a good CAD model, you had a good prototype. See, bringing it around town. Is that a SpongeBob reference? I think it's a SpongeBob reference.
Yes, it is.
It
Yes, it
is,
is.
yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Yep. So, God, that got me so far off. Oh, well.
You ate my only food, and now I'm gonna starve.
I'll see. I don't know SpongeBob.
You don't know that reference? You don't know that SpongeBob one?
No, I don't. But that's okay. This is what it's all about, though. If you have a market and you know it, and you can prove that they're going to buy it, you're golden. If you don't, you're going to have a huge problem. Be careful. Be very careful. We're going to talk more about it in the next episode. Let's wrap this one up a little early, boys. It's funny because I expected this one to run a little long. I expected the bonus episode that we filmed earlier to go short.
To be shorter.
And
it's
completely
kind of even.
That's okay, though. We covered the topics that we came here to do. This is all about building momentum for your brand, for your product, and for getting sales. The next episode, we're going to dive into a little more of the patenting, market validation, production, and kind of a weird one, distribution. And we'll touch a little bit on the pass on or sell, if you're going to hold on to it or if you're going to sell it. Keep an eye out for us. We hope, I guess this episode is going to come out right after Thanksgiving, so we hope that you had a wonderful Thanksgiving if you are in the United States. If you are not, I don't know what holiday, but we hope you had a great weekend, sure. Have a great week, and as always, call your loved ones, let them know you love them. You never know when that time might change and you won't be able to call them anymore, so make sure you reach out to them. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us, learning a little bit, making weird references with the rest of the boys, and we hope to see you soon. Take care out there. Keep making awesome. As always, episode is sponsored by 3D Musketeers. Have a good one.
Thank you.